President.
Oklahoma.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call in progress be vitiated.
Without objection.
And Mr. President, last summer in my hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, when gasoline prices were at near $4 a gallon, a person driving a compressed natural gas vehicle powered car was able to fuel up for just 90 cents a gallon. This is when gasoline was at $4 a gallon. And that was the savings of $3 a gallon. Consequently, I was the first in Congress to introduce a comprehensive bill to promote the use of natural gas as a realistic alternative for the many Americans who were looking for the price relief, which is about everybody. The bill I introduced was called the Drive America on Natural Gas Act. A year later, I'm encouraged to see several members on Capitol Hill have introduced similar bills promoting the use of natural gas and propane as transportation fuel. Last summer, I joined with Senator Pryor to once again introduce a comprehensive bill to promote these fuels for America's drivers. Additionally, Majority Leader Harry Reid recently announced his firm support for natural gas vehicles and hopes to bring a standalone bill to the floor in the near future. And I welcome the Majority Leader's support and encourage him to make this a priority for floor consideration. Now, one of the major components of my Drive America on Natural Gas Act addressed a desperate need to overhaul the EPA emission certification process, which effectively prohibits the ability of nearly all car owners the option to legally convert car to a biofuel. A biofuel is a car that can run either on natural gas or on flip a switch and go to gasoline. Now, why? With certification and emissions testing expenses ranging between $50,000 and $150,000 per conversion system type, the costs are prohibitive for the aftermarket conversion system manufacturers to produce these systems for more than just a handful of different vehicle models each year. And these heavy costs are ultimately borne by the consumer. Due to the rigidity and the cost constraints of these regulations, the EPA has issued less than 300 certificates over the past 8 years. That's 300 certificates over the past 8 years. And this is a solution to the high price and the fluctuating price of automobile gas. Now, oftentimes the vehicle models eligible for conversion are only so for a short period of time, since the certification lasts less than a year before a conversion system manufacturer must decide it will rectify that particular system. Now today, I'm pleased to join Senator Wicker, Congressman Dan Bourne from my state of Oklahoma, Congressman Heath Shuler, to introduce bipartisan, bicameral legislation to simplify and streamline the EPA emission certification process for aftermarket conversion systems. A streamlined alternative fuel vehicle conversion act makes critical changes in 5 key ways so that vehicle conversions can become a commonplace option for all Americans. First, our bill eliminates the need for subsequent yearly recertification systems that have already been certified. And I might add that the EPA is a friend in this effort. They wanted the changes to take place as much as we do, but they are not able to do this right now under the current law. You have to get recertified. So we eliminate that problem. Secondly, the legislation directs the EPA to establish criteria that would cover several different yet similar vehicle makes and models on a single certification of conformity. The problem is this, and we have I can't remember. We have an organization in Tulsa that has a conversion system where they can actually change the fuel and refuel these things, and they can change the conversions in automobiles. The problem is, the way the law is today, you have to pay this for a conversion each time. It might be the same engine that's already been converted before, but if it's in a different model, you have to convert it again. And this is something that we're going to be changing. The third thing we changed is to instruct EPA to allow the submissions of previous tested data if a vehicle or a conversion system has not changed in a way which would affect compliance. Very similar to the last problem, but nonetheless, it's in the current law. The fourth thing that we would do is direct the EPA to promulgate regulations to help conversion system manufacturers comply with potentially different onboard diagnostics, that's called OBD, requirements for compatibility. Now, since 1996, these onboard diagnostics systems have been required in all light-duty cars and trucks to monitor engine and emission components. And finally, we clarified the treatment of vehicles which are beyond their useful life as defined by the EPA. These older vehicles, typically those that are at least 10 years old and have a minimum at least 125,000 miles, are by default regulated under the Clean Air Act's tampering provision, causing regulatory uncertainty. Our legislation would allow the conversion of these vehicles as long as the conversion system manufacturer or the converter is able to demonstrate that the emissions would not degrade due to conversion. Now, over the past several months, this legislation has been through numerous drafting reiterations with the assistance of the Natural Gas Vehicle America, the National Propane Gas Association, and the Environmental Protection Agency. As I said before, they've been very helpful to us. I especially want to thank the EPA for their input and assistance in helping us craft a bill which will aid the agency in their efforts to streamline their compliance. They actually want to streamline. This is not normally the case. I'm also encouraged by EPA's internal efforts to reform the process, and I'm pleased that our bill will complement and enhance their actions. By simplifying this compliance process, the Streamline Alternative Fuel Vehicle Conversion Act will not only incentivize conversion system manufacturers to offer more systems for additional vehicle makes and models, but will eventually reduce the cost of these conversion systems for interested car owners, perhaps by the hundreds or even by thousands of dollars for each individual. So ultimately, the legislation will allow Americans to choose whether propane or natural gas-powered vehicles are right for their own individual and business needs, and while simultaneously preserving the country's stringent emission standards. The promise of natural gas and propane as mainstream transportation fuels is achievable today, not 20 years from now or 25 years from now, but today. And it's something that no one should be against. Just stop and think about it. I know the price of gas is down now to $3. In my state of Oklahoma, it's down to around $2 a gallon. But today's price for natural gas, a comparable gallon, would be 90 cents. And that is one that would be stabilized. And when you stop and think about the reserves that are out there in natural gas, the propensity, what we can do and what is out and available for us today, it can only get better. So hopefully this will pass, and I'm very proud of the bipartisan support, the bicameral support, and I encourage our colleagues to get involved in this very logical response to the high price of motor fuel. I yield the floor and suggest the absence of a quorum.
Clerk.